trim runabout, a fast, reliable motor, the beckoning wonder of the blue waters yonder. Here's a combination to thrill the hearts of a boy and a girl in love. Like most Americans, George Bilgewater here and his best girl are outdoor-minded. Their greatest pleasure is to leave the worry and hurry of the city far behind. And George's new outboard motor is their ticket to peaceful enchantment of lake and stream. And if George can't resist the temptation to show off a bit, small wonder. Not too many years ago, an outboard was about as easy to handle as a Republican at a Democratic committee meeting. Starting one was roughly equivalent to going 3 fast rounds with Joe Louis. If you survived, you bought a pair of oars. But this new motor of George's, that's a different story. And easy to start, man, you don't pull the starter cord, you just lean on it and away you go. As soon as George finishes undressing, we'll be off for a mad dash over the rolling deep. What did you expect, George? Gremlin? Better hurry it up a bit, George. That certain party is waxing, shall we say, impatient. Okay, now just lean against it. You better lean a little harder this time, George. Well, just keep at it, George. We have another outboard date to keep out on the Rogue River in Oregon.
Here's an outboard rig tailored to the needs of the man who's more concerned about where he's going than where he's been. Resort owner Larry Lucas and young friend Kenny King tried their hands at rapid transit on the rugged road. This is one case where the right hand better know what the left hand is doing, or over goes the outfit, Larry and all. With one hand guiding the tiller, the other making a running transom adjustment, this navigator's nightmare calls for deft maneuvering, not prescribed for Central Park sailors. It takes a practiced eye to read the foamy frenzy that is the Rogue Rapids. A split second is all you get to pick a course, outguess the tricky buffeting current, and spot the shallow rocks. And take it from Larry, a prop load of power is a handy thing to have backing you up when you face the challenge of the Rogue. Here's a really rough go. This stairway in the river rises 4 feet over a 20-foot stretch of riverbed. That's a tough climb for any man's outboard. Oh, no. Cameraman, not now. Later, much later. And it looks like they're up, and over they go. A tough climb, but typical of Rogue waters. There may be easier ways to go for a boat ride, but none more thrilling. Cruising up the river, feather bedding after the stormy violence of the Rogue's white water. Here in the Oregon semi-wilderness lie great stretches of the lofty grandeur that is America, where the fish duck skitters over the water with startled amazement as he perceives the man-thing on his trail. And in the pools and deeps of the swift-running Rogue lurk the steelheads and salmon, trout that tip the scales at 10, 12, even 14 pounds, Chinook lunkers to lure stout-hearted anglers, and towering in the background, the jagged, soaring contours of the Rockies. Plummeting downriver now, our adventurers race the current, streaking at breakneck speed over the obstacle-laden course, matching wits, brawn, and staying power with the treachery of the river. Here, a miss of the motor or a wrong twist of the wrist means disaster. Yes, it's a top outboarding thrill, challenging the mighty Rogue.
For the blasé sportsman who finds battling sharks pretty tame stuff, Florida has more exciting attractions. There is the Manta Ray, for example. This is the tail end of a 6.5-hour battle between these two lads and a 2,000-pound manta. Faced with the problem of wearing down their opponent without angering him, they matched his strength throughout the long struggle. And with only this thin shell of a boat between them and a ton of sudden death, they succeeded. The great devilfish, when aroused, can outpull a 55-foot boat, and when he takes to the air, can smash a boat like this to kindling in a single blow. Shaped in the proportions of a giant flying wing, this fellow measures 14 feet across and has a mouth 3 feet wide. And now for the edification and amazement of all concerned, including the Ray, our daring young friend is going to try a bit of rayback riding. And this little stunt is loaded with dynamite. Should the manta summon his reserve energy for a final burst of violence, well, that's all, brother. Easy now. And there it is. Man rides Manta. He has a hook in either side of the Ray's mouth and ropes leading back for reins. Hard back on the reins now to bring the massive head up to the surface. And up he comes, docile and responsive to the reins as a well-trained horse. Though similar, it's doubtful if rayback riding will ever replace surfboarding in the affections of the water sportsman. Nor is it likely to improve the status of our friend here as a good insurance risk. Hard to believe as you see it gliding smoothly along that rays like this one have run amok and killed many an unwary boater. Well, all's well that ends well, and the giant Manta heads for deep water, there to be turned loose after providing us with another of our thrills. This guy's just trying to start something. He did. Well, thank you, Mr. Bilgewater. Cameraman? In any town, USA, which is located in the state of anticipation, folks are turning out by the parking lot full for a new kind of sport that we're interested in, too, because it packs plenty of thrills and spills. Yes, they're bringing the picnic lunch baskets, blankets, camp chairs, and the kids, and jam-packing the shoreline of Lake Nearby. And as anyone can plainly see, some of those who don't have chairs are sitting on pins and needles, just waiting to be entertained. The object of their attention seems to be this collection of sleek, trim-looking boats and motors. Nothing so much out of the ordinary here. Who hasn't seen an outboard motor before? And as for the boats, well, most of us have been fishing or riding in boats very much like many of these. Must be more here than meets the eye. But not more than meets this fellow's eye with the aid of his binoculars. Put the boats together and they spell thrills on the water in the form of stockboat racing. And half the fun of it is that these skitterbug skippers are not professional hot rods, but just fun-loving amateurs like the kid next door, the filling station attendant, or the high school history teacher. Even old Moneybucks the banker may be out there trying his hand at holding them tight on the turns and wide open in the stretches. But here they come, sliding around the far turn like grease on a hot griddle. Streamlined W104 is out front and looking like the class of the field. More of them into the turn, and oh, a close one as KF7 spins and turns and rears up on its transom. Okay, he's on his way again. Now they're stringing out, and it looks like, yes, it's W104 still holding the lead, but he knows he's in a race. Here's a hot contest on the straightaway. They're gunning full throttle. Now watch them jockey for position as they go into the... Whoa, there's a bad flip, and another right over the top of him. Man, oh man, talk about action. Both boys are up now. They don't seem to be hurt, and here comes help. One of the drivers has dropped out of the race to lend a helping hand. They're rounding the far turn now, and W750 is crawling right up on the side of KF7, but they come out of it okay. Now they're in the straightaway and heading into the last lap, well strung out and playing follow the leader. How does it look from where you stand, mister? Right, it looks like a boat race, and here's the big white boat challenging for the... Careful there! He's going up! Oh, and he did a perfect backflip. A champion diver couldn't have displayed better form. He took 2 skip bounces, the wind got under him, and over he went. All holding close on the turn now, trying to close the gap on the number 1 boat. Round the far turn they come, and here's the flag on W104 for a clean first. All ashore that's coming ashore. That was some... Anybody here, Page Bilgewater? Mighty smooth running paddle he has there. And on George it looks good. Doesn't look bad on his girlfriend either. Cameraman.
Subject of more movie shorts, newspaper features, and magazine articles than you can shake an editor at is Cypress Gardens, Florida. Each year, hundreds of thousands of visitors come to the gardens to gaze upon the melancholy grandeur of its cypress trees and the not-so-melancholy form displayed by its water skiers. Come you in June or come you in January, you are bound to see a bevy of waterborne cover girls in action. And when you do your spectating at Cypress Gardens, it's as much fun to watch water skiing as it is to water ski. The boat and motor, pulling this quintet of American beauties along at upwards of 30 miles per hour, is the same combination that set a new national stock utility speed record at Lake Alfred recently. And there's power to burn as world ski jumping champ Buddy Boyle at the controls brings them skimming over the waves. It isn't tough enough to keep their balance on a couple of glorified bed slats behind the fast outboard with the wind and the waves in their hair and managing to look beautiful in the process. They have to show off on top of it. What can the Egyptians do that we can't do better? Their pyramids were never like this. If there's a single outstanding inducement to take up water skiing, it is the chance it offers to become low man on a totem pole like this. Till recently, this grand sport of water skiing was for a limited few. Not because it takes a champion to master it, but because only costly inboards seem to meet the requirements of instant acceleration, high-speed lugging ability, and consistent all-speed performance. With the introduction of outboards like the Thunderbolt, water skiing is well on its way to becoming a popular national sport.
Oh, hum, end of a perfect day. Give the little lady a great big hand, George. Very touching, very touching. Cameraman.
Yes, occasionally, even the men do some skiing at Cypress Gardens. Duck, exhibitionist. Some fellas just can't seem to settle down and keep their feet on the ground. If at first you succeed, try and try again. You're bound to fail eventually. But not this ski jumper. He just naturally floats through the air with the greatest of ease. Let's slow him down this time and see what makes him click. Knees bent to cushion the shock of the ramp. Perfect coordination as he makes his jump. Balanced grace in flight and instant recovery from the impact of hitting the water. Perfect timing for your outboard thrills and spills.
Balanced grace in flight and instant recovery from the impact of hitting the water. Perfect timing for your outboard thrills and spills.